Is Israel an existential threat to Iran, or is it the other way around? Is Iran an existential threat to Israel?
Alone, I don't think either are an existential threat to each other. Iranian strategists will, of course, say that they could throw however many missiles at Israel in a single outing and it could destroy the country entirely. I don't think that's true. And as well, Israel, I mean, if it launched every nuke that it had at Iran, yes, it's an existential threat, but that would require a massive change. That's a worldwide event more than anything else. So that's outside the context of the discussion. But with its conventional military power alone, I don't think it is. It still needs tremendous support from the United States. It still needs to send those planes very far across the region, and it's more fragile than it attempts to put forward. It's very reliant on that service-client relationship with the United States. The United States and Israel, that's when it becomes not an absolute existential threat, but more of an existential threat. America has the potential to devastate Iran, to make the fabric of that society really fray in ways that other countries would never be able to. I mean, look what happened with Iraq and Afghanistan and other countries that it's invaded. These states exist, certainly, but to the extent that they function in the same ways, I don't think that's the case.
Talking of Israel not being able to stand alone by itself, you've mentioned the United States. Of course, we have to talk about the Gulf states, who are actually shooting down Iranian missiles. What's going on with the Gulf states? Why? Well, a few months ago, China sat Saudi Arabia down and Iran, and they all made up. So there's no longer a Sunni versus Shia fight, so to speak, or, beef. But here we are. Jordan is stopping shooting down Iranian missiles. Qatar. What's going on with the Gulf states? Is this about the chips that they've agreed to get from Donald Trump when he came over there? Or is it more than that?
I mean, it's a bit more than that. I mean, Gulf states like Saudi Arabia before this were very invested in a longer term détente. They didn't want the war footing that they had for the past several years. That wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't sustainable. But after the diplomatic agreements with Israel, that many of them were pursued and are pursuing right now, after October 7th, it became this hot coal that they were all holding on to, where these agreements that were pursued in under the idea that it would be a sustainable peace suddenly became very unsustainable. And now you are dealing with this very volatile actor, this rabid dog, how the former Israeli Defense Minister Moshe Dayan would have put it. That's how Israel should act. So now it's a matter of, we want to condemn this action, obviously, but we can't get involved and we can't shoot down Israeli missiles or Israeli jets that are flying over us because that would invoke war on us. But we can't shoot down Iranian missiles without very much fuss. And then we can say we're protecting our sovereignty, we're protecting our regional agreements, we don't want war passing through our air. It's an effect of that Western alignment. They can't actually break with that because that upsets the whole balance.
Indeed. You have the likes of Qatar, who shares a gas field with Iran and also holds the largest U.S. base in the Middle East. I'm going to open up the lines because I know you're all already calling. I will be picking up your calls after Seamus answers this question for me. So talk to us about the new Iran that maybe almost new Iran that you mentioned about the society. Women after, the Women's Freedom protest the other day. Talk to us about that. If you could do that like in like a minute. Like I said, you can call 0201 277 0993, 0201 465 7190. You can send your WhatsApp to 0809 597 5805. You get one question. You have 30 seconds to say it. So, Seamus, don't worry. You don't know my listeners. They're like my co-host. They'll take over the show in a moment. So, do tell us, what's Iran like right now? As in, since, the new president came in. Is it liberal? You said women can remove the hijab, etc.
It's slightly more liberal.
Right.
It's more of a non-enforcement
Right.
of the former conservative social mores, more than an abolition of that. It's still fragile, but there is an understanding that there's a thaw happening in women's rights. They're trying not to instigate another uprising of that kind by making sure that the police can't do something that would instigate the other one. I mean, the Massa Amini protest started because a morality police officer beat and then eventually killed
her.
A Kurdish Iranian woman who came into Tehran and didn't have a proper hijab. By avoiding that, the president is hoping that these things can continue to be stable or something. But it's not a long-term solution, and I don't think any of them have a long-term solution to that.
But we've seen, whilst you guys are calling, I've just got to put this in. We've seen a most remarkable turnover in Saudi Arabia, for instance. After the journalist Khashoggi was killed, and we're hearing, we started to hear women are able to drive, women have more powers, and etc. And now Saudi Arabia has become the darling of the West, so to speak. Could Iran achieve that? I will be answering your calls. Just keep calling. Could Iran achieve that? If you could answer that in 30 seconds.
Sure. I think Iran will inevitably get to the point where women's rights will be prioritized. Islamic Republican governance is becoming less and less popular with every year, and eventually they will have to acquiesce. But how they acquiesce, when they acquiesce, is still, I think, a very open question. But it will, and it's inevitable. I should say it's inevitable.